Day in my life working at the office.
And this is a day in my life.
How you can become a data analyst.
This is a day in the life of a Japanese waitress.
This day in my life.
This video is going to be for any of you that want to get started on YouTube.
I'm a freshman studying computer science, and this video is going to be a day in my life.
A day in the life of Sebastian Georgiou.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? Something a bit different today. I've seen lots of videos talking about a day in the life of whatever and everything you need to be a blah blah blah, but today I thought I'd just completely trim off the fat and tell you everything that you probably need to do and buy to begin a career as a composer from someone who has just passed the stage of starting out. I've been working professionally now, whatever that means, for about 2 years, and most of these are things that I use every day as a composer. I've put this list together so you have no excuse but to start. Two SSD drives. I recommend these Samsung 1TB ones, one to store samples on and one for all projects and documents and stuff like that. An instrument separate from the computer is important for creativity to ensure you take a couple of minutes to stand up and set up to record something live. For me, this is usually my guitar, violin, or my tiny Arturia synth. For you, it can be as simple as a £10 percussion instrument that you record and then run through loads of effects. Some sort of computer and a DAW. For me, this is a refurbished 2010 Mac Pro that I bought for about 300 quid about 2 years ago, and Logic Pro X. The Mac does the job, though I will be upgrading in the next year or so. I didn't have the money to buy anything better than that 2 years ago. If you're buying a CPU now though, I would highly recommend one of the MacBook Pros from the last few years. You probably want about 32 gigs of RAM, as this will give you room to expand. A MIDI keyboard and MIDI controller. For me, the Nectar GX61 and the Korg Nano Control 2. I haven't really had any issues with these since I bought them about 4 years ago. Microphone. I use the Rode NT1A. This is a brilliant mic that you can find for under £100. I use it to record everything. Literally, I'm recording this on it. A notebook and some post-its. Get them, you'll thank me later. And finally, an audio interface to bring all those lovely bits of gear together. This Focusrite 2i2 will do the job. Now, before I tell you what juicy sample libraries you can splash your cash on and sink your teeth into, that will come later in the video, don't worry. I'm going to mention some of my favourite freebies and show you a short cue that I wrote using just the free sample libraries. Don't say I don't treat you. Coming in with, in my opinion, the biggest hitter, PianoBook is an online library of downloadable sample libraries made by our wonderful community. And thanks to many of them being available to use through the free sampler Decent Sampler, they're technically free, and there's plenty of them. Labs, the free branch of the sample library company Spitfire Audio, has recently launched a new team dedicated to making more high quality free libraries. I still use Labs instruments in my everyday composition because they just sound so great. Honestly, Labs proves that free does not mean low quality. BBC SO Discover. This is the free version of the Spitfire BBC Symphony Orchestra library. BBC SO gives you the beginnings of a symphony orchestra at your fingertips. For free. Yep, free. Orchestral Tools Sine Factory. This is loads of free instruments using Orchestral Tools' Sine player. Instruments include acoustic guitars, big band brass, percussion, and a string ensemble, as well as loads more. Finally, 8Dio's Free Radicals, some crazy synth sounds and sound design to make your ears bleed in a good way. And so here's a short cue that I've written using some of the free samples. Hang on a second, there was footage that cue was set to. Where did that come from? Well, that footage was the short video Spring from the Blender Foundation, available on the QTube library. This takes me to the next part of the video. The QTube is an online resource where you can find dozens of short films and videos with sound effects and dialogue, but with no music, to use in your portfolio and to practice writing music to picture. All of the videos are free at 240p with a QTube watermark. However, I would encourage you to head to our Patreon link down below, where you can pay just £1 a month and you can get all of the videos in HD with no watermark, free to use on your portfolio and in your showreels. So if you can, head to the link down below now. It'd be really appreciated. Skip on that Kit Kat this month. Your belly and brain will thank you. There's plenty of people creating great content on YouTube for composers. From gear to sampling to scoring your first short film, you'll be able to find it on YouTube. Some composers on YouTube that I recommend are Guy Mitchellmore, Heinbach, Dan Keane, Christian Henson, Alex Mukala and Zach Heidi. Now for the moment you've been waiting for, the oh so delicious sample libraries. Now I want to articulate that due to the plethora of free libraries you can get nowadays and to the standard that they're at, these are not things that you need to buy to necessarily start your career. Instead, these will be helpful in creating realistic orchestral and hybrid orchestral mock-ups that directors often want, and they'll introduce you to new sounds that you'll be able to shape and play with to find your own sound. So without further ado, I don't even know where to start with East West Composer Cloud. It's a subscription service of $20 a month or £200 a year with half price education discount, and it gives you every single instrument or sound or whatever that you might need to begin your career as a composer. I mean everything, from full orchestras to crazy synth sounds to soul singers, heavenly choirs, Asian, African, South American instruments, the lot. The samples are of a fairly high quality and they'll provide you with everything you need to get going. I don't use East West as much as I used to because you can find higher quality samples elsewhere, but I think for a beginner not really knowing how to start or what they want to create or what they want to do, Composer Cloud is well worth it. Spitfire Audio creates some absolutely beautiful products. Just head to their website and you'll be inspired. But there are a few specific ones that I think should be the first ones you buy to take you on that journey to shaping your own sound. Now, Albion 1 from Spitfire is usually the standard for starting your expedition to compositional acclaim. It's packed full of so much to inspire you and teach you the basics of how to create a really great score. It's what I started with, and the sounds certainly get your blood pumping, so it's something to look into. But I think there's just a few other products that'll give you a head start over the rest. The Originals range, specifically Media Toolkit, provides the user with sounds and effect that you can't really find elsewhere to get your ears all tingly and the creative juices flowing. All of the libraries are at the low price of £29, dollars or euros, with the ability to get an education discount for students and educators at 30%. This is hands down my favourite string library. It just has such a deeply sampled, warm sound that with a large concert hall reverb can sound symphonic and gel really beautifully with other sections of the orchestra. Seriously, chamber strings is what you want in a string library in my opinion. They come at the standard price of £599 for the core version, with the ability to get the education discount of 30%, but I do recommend waiting until Spitfire have a sale on. They do winter, summer, that kind of sale. They do it all the time. Finally, the one you want is Albion Solstice, known as the Folk Orchestra. This one comes with so much that will help you develop and shape your sound. Spitfire really knocked it out the park with this one. The library is just endlessly inspiring with so many deeply sampled instruments. It's just, I love it. It comes in a bit cheaper at £399 with the availability of the 30% education discount, but once again I recommend waiting until they have a sale on. So now you've got all the things that you need to start writing music for media. But what do you do with that? How do you start getting gigs? How do you start earning money? There's a few routes you can take and things you can do to answer the big question of
How to make a living out of writing music.
First things first, I recommend downloading a few clips from the QTube's Patreon library, £1 a month remember, and start writing some music to those to get some practice in and learn the basics of composing. Great stuff, you're now a composer. Now what you can do is edit those clips together to create a show reel and stick a fancy title at the start with your name prefixed by composer in large text, so now it's all nice and official. You are branding yourself as a composer and you have a portfolio and show reel to show that. Politely send that show reel to anyone who'll have it. Directors, producers, choreographers, and more established composers. And don't be discouraged if they don't like it or want it. They don't mean to be mean, but they're often very stressed and on a deadline, and they're not obliged to give you a job on their film or as their assistant. Not everyone wants to hear your music yet, but that's okay, and press on, keep practicing, and you'll get to a point where everyone basically thinks you are great and your music is great. Alternatively, a route into the industry is writing production music. This is basically where you write an album or so of music, you send it off to a production music library, they get your music into TV and film and the like, and you get money known as royalties every time it's used and broadcast on a major broadcasting channel. It's really great because you kind of develop a working relationship with the people at the library, so they come to you every time they need a certain style of music. The final and hardest way is just to break into the industry as a composer in your own right. This means quite literally writing music because you just want people to listen to it. Shocking, I know. I can't really help you with that one, but I'm sure you'll work it out. Do remember though, that here at the QTube, we do want to help promote your music, so if you have an album or an EP or whatever, just send the music over and we'd be happy to promote it in any way that we can. So that's it for our complete guide to starting out as a composer. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Remember to like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and ding the bell to be notified when we release more content like this on the QTube channel. Thanks so much to our patrons for directly supporting us. It's really greatly appreciated. That's all from me. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye now.